were the two largest industries in Chautauqua County. So we needed to try to help support from an educational focus, those types of occupations that would be in demand, and looking at that and trying to bring the companies to the table. They're the experts. They're the ones that are looking for the specific skills of what they're talking about. And are we training to the best of our ability within our educational systems the skills that they're looking for? And are those conversations being had between the training providers, our school districts, our community college, SUNY Fredonia? Are those programs available, and are they meeting the need?
If I was in 8th grade and I wanted to be, let's go into the manufacturing world, is there a career track for me?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, that's a very micro level question, right? We're talking about the programs and specifics and the interests of maybe an individual student and what they would do. So what we did through kind of our Dream It, Do It program was just to provide those types of experiential learning opportunities for students to say, I've had plenty of opportunity to go in to speak with students at that age level. My daughter's in 6th grade. When I ask her the question, what is manufacturing? So a lot of the times you get crickets. They really have no concept, unless they have a friend or a family member that has worked in the field and they've been to the facility before. So that's what we tried to do, was just to try to bring a level of education to students, but not only to students, to school counselors, to teachers, to administrators, to fully understand the types of opportunities that are readily available right here in their backyard. And we did that through tours, through professional development opportunities, by getting panels of a lot of our manufacturing private side leaders together to have these conversations. They're really struggling trying to find the skilled workforce that they're looking for. And until you start to have that dialogue and that conversation, it's hard to clearly message to that 8th grader what pathways or what training that they would need in order to obtain that type of occupational track.
You and I were talking before we went on the air, and I've gotten to the point in my life where I know I might insult somebody, I might hurt some feelings, but I'm not trying to do that here. What I'm trying to say is the reality of it all is that we, as a nation, we have proposed that all children should go to college. And I, in my experiences, proposed that all children should get the best education to go to the point where they use their skills to their best of their ability, where they get up every day and have passion and love what they're doing. And if college is part of that pathway, terrific. If it's a 2-year technical program, okay. If it's a 1-year certificate program while they're working at what they love to do, even better. But we have wasted a lot of money and a lot of time by funneling kids into things and places that they shouldn't have to start with. And the statistics are there, so I'm not making this stuff up, and you argue with me if I'm wrong. But if you take 100 kids and you start them out in college, I think 5% of them will graduate from college and be working in the field of their love and passion. Am I even close?
Well, I would like to add just one piece to that with what we're looking at through the Education Coalition is, we're job focused, right? I mean, the end goal should not necessarily be the credential or the training that you're getting, but the end goal should be to make sure that you have a job and a good paying, family sustaining wage. So that's what we're really, that's the silver bullet. That's what we're all trying to encourage and try to make sure that our students understand that. It's not so much the credential, but making sure that we can get you placed. We want to try to, from a grassroots perspective, fill a lot of the local demand that's
so
right
it's really the two ends coming together. You have to have the preparation, and you all have to have the jobs for those. So how does this work? So if I'm saying I have passion and I want to do this, and you're saying I want to create jobs that will that I can hire you, how does that work?
Sure.
Where's the conversation then?
Sure. So I think that gets back to kind of the model that we've adopted through the stakeholder engagement process. So I mean, I realize that might be consultant speak to some, but we have a lot of this information on our website. So I'd encourage all of you to take a look at that. But when it comes to solving complex community challenges, it's all about dissolving the system, and how do organizations currently right now work with one another within Chautauqua County. We need to, maybe change some of those relationships and strengthen some of those relationships in a way so we can work closer together. So not so much focusing on maybe developing a new program or trying to hopefully, fingers crossed, secure that next grant application, but what could we maybe get done with the resources that we currently have in place if we just start having a conversation with another organization and strengthen that.
So what you're saying is that perhaps if we talk, I have something you need that I'm not using anymore, or I could handle that, I didn't know you needed that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's no new money to the table. There's no new resources. We already have it.
But we focus on building those relationships.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people talk about that type of stuff, but we have kind of a playbook on how to do it too. It's not just a lot of hot air, so to speak, but we have a fundamental process in which we can practice and in implementation side of it as well. So that way we know when that situation arises, whether it's looking at specific programs or career pathway development, but getting people to sort of act in a way that will hopefully effectively move the needle on some big picture stuff.
All right, so give me some examples of some success stories. Do you have any to share?
Sure, absolutely. I think one of the first success stories of the Education Coalition was the establishment of the P-TECH program. Dunkirk City Schools was the lead applicant for that project. But the coalition really created the platform for that opportunity to be facilitated by the BOCES, So it was offered to not just, it wasn't just housed in one school district. It's being offered to the 27 component school districts of Chautauqua County. So a lot of students have that opportunity to participate in a program like that. The data to drive what career paths those students are taking in that program came from the Manufacturers Association of the Southern Tier through a survey. So we did survey our local industry and understand, what are the top 3 in-demand occupations at that time when that grant was, when that grant opportunity arose. And we need to make sure that we're training these students on that. And if you ever have an opportunity to go visit that program and that facility, and speak with those kids are just head and shoulders above they're just doing fantastic stuff.
Okay, take a minute or two and tell us more about P-TECH.
Sure.
You know what it is. I have a working knowledge of what it is because I've had some people on here about it, but let's just give them the definition. What is it?
Yeah, so the definition, pathways in technology, early college, high school. And it's a fundamental shift in a way that students are learning. It's very work-based learning, focused. They're working on projects. They're working in teams all day long. And they obtain their English and history and math all at the same facility, so it's much different than maybe some of the other programs that are offered through BOCES. And it also leads to a 2-year degree in a specific occupation. So they're going to have either choose the path of welding or machining, and that track. So there's 2 options. Students sign up in 8th grade, but first they do it at their own home component school. So it's a competitive process to get into this program.
Wow.
They're also going to be they're in the right now they're renovating Dunkirk School Building 6, which was an elementary building that was not being used. And at no cost to any of the taxpayers, this is going to be a fantastic, brand new, state-of-the-art facility that these students in this program are going to be learning. And they come out of this program with a free 2-year degree from Jamestown Community College. So JCC is also a component partner in this, a big partner.
So it's like you were saying, is you bring the people to the table.
Exactly.
No new money necessarily. And it's incorporating what I was talking about, a career path.
Yeah.
And so on.
So, there was a little bit of, in that example, some new money, right? We did receive a grant to get that started.
Oh, sure,
but the sustainability of it, from what we see from a coalition standpoint, is to ensure that we still have those strong, warm handoffs and strong connections between the private sector, because there's a lot of manufacturers that are actively participating in this program through mentoring opportunities, through job shadowing, through tours, through hopefully once the students get a little bit older, it's only in its 3rd year right now. offering internships and
They're
part-time
probably
work, and
providing
hopefully.
resources like equipment and things.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Wow, this is good. All right. So this is at Dunker. So if your daughter lives, let's say, in wherever you live, Bemis Point, we'll make it up. It's her birthday.
Yes, my daughter's
You were
birthday
supposed
was
to tell
on
her.
Thursday. Yeah, happy birthday, Madison. Yep.
So if
she's,
Madison wants
11.
to go to this program, and where do you live?
We live in Jamestown, but
Jamestown.
it's in the Maple Grove Bemis district.
All
Yep.
right. So can she go to this program?
She can. So
How'd she get there?
So how she would get there was have to have some conversations with her school counselors. Each school district sort of makes a determination on how many offerings or how many seats they're going to provide. And then, you'd had some conversations, and there would be an application process at their home school, and that's how they would kind of participate.
And this
in the
came out of
program.
the coalition.
It was definitely a part of it. Yeah, I mean, this was because of the fact that we were bringing together multiple entities to have these types of conversations.
Okay, so you mentioned the coalition is the public and private sectors and that. Are there faces to these? I mean, who's like, this is a board of directors? Like,
Yeah.
Y'all meet together once a month, or how's this work?
Yeah, so actually, it's a good thing you brought that up. So as
You're
far
welcome.
as the sustainability of this organization, it's been an initiative supported by the Chamber of Commerce and Manufacturers for the past 4 years. We just have established ourselves as our own separate 501c3 as of July. So we do have a full board of directors. Several members from the private sector. We have Mike Abate, who's the plant manager at Cummins, Brad Van Riper, who's senior vice president and chief technology officer at Trucklight, Ann Abdella, Todd Tranum from our nonprofit world, Dave O'Rourke, who's the superintendent of BOCES. Yep. Bill Smock, who's the PTEC grant program overseer, but he's also an administrator at Dunkirk City Schools.
Okay.
Jay Kalkirk from our Dream It Do It program, and then Chris Lansky from Excelco.
Oh, no, Chris.
Yep.
Chris and I were on the MTI board together.
Oh, okay.
See, I told you I know all these
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
As the only person was the first person.
So, and then I don't want to forget Heather Brown either. So from the Resource Center as
Great.
well. Yeah.
Good people. All right. So that's the coalition group.
So that's our guiding team, right? That's our board that's sort of looking at the entire learning system from a 10,000-foot view and trying to see how us as a coalition can help support some of this. I know we've been focusing a lot of the conversation on our career path, since that's sort of where we started back in 2012. We had a very STEM focus, but since then,
Whoa, STEM.
science, technology, engineering, and math.
I'm gonna hold you every time.
Shame on me.
In fact, a lot of people around here said it should be STEAM.
Yep.
But put the arts in there too.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Actually, we just had a good meeting this past week with Chautauqua Institution on some program type stuff. So we're looking at the arts component of it.
And can people from outside the county participate, like just across the border, or is
Yeah, absolutely. So how we're modeled, I guess when we hold our big community meetings, it's bi-monthly, and our calendar is right on our website as well as our Facebook
All right,
page.
let's give the website and Facebook. How do you get to you?
Sure, yeah. www.educoalition.com is our website, and then on Facebook you can find us right at Chautauqua County Education Coalition.
Yeah, I'll look you guys up.
Yeah. So, I mean, we post when we're having our full group meetings. We try to do a good job of getting people in different facilities that they might not have an opportunity to meet. So we move our meetings around, but it's always the fourth Tuesday of every other month from 7:45 to 9. And then sometimes we have our breakout group meetings too. So that's kind of how we're organized from a management standpoint.
Wow. Okay. So you mentioned PTEC as one of your success stories. And anything else you want to share?
Yeah. So, what differs us from being, because like when we first got started, I said we were the Chautauqua County STEM Education Coalition. So really focused on science, technology, engineering, and math. But we've broadened our scope since then, and we're also looking at kindergarten readiness in early childhood space as well. If you think of it from a manufacturing process standpoint, if you have a problem in the manufacturing process, where do you go to try to figure out that problem? The beginning, right? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So we need to really look at early childhood. It's really important, and a lot of the data says that. So we're working with, we got Beth Starks, who is the executive
Beth
director
has been on the show
right in
here.
your backyard
Yeah.
here, right? Chautauqua Lakes children's group over there, and she's
Right.
doing a fantastic job with that program. But we're looking at some specific areas as to how to support, that area of learning and education.
All right. So the question is begging me in my brain here. you've got a 4-year-old, and what are they doing to help the cause here? You got to help me and the viewers.
Sure, yeah. So a couple of the programs that we're really strongly taking a look at right now would be Quality Stars, which is...
I know what that is.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So in layman's terms, it's a way of putting a rating on the daycare or facility where you would be, dropping your children off at.
Mm-hmm.
How well are they doing? And they have a whole list of different things that they look at there.
They're rated on criteria.
Yeah. Almost like, in my analogy is like when you get online and you're looking for, a hotel. Is it a 5-star hotel or a 2-star hotel?
Right.
That speaks a lot, that rating, right? You know exactly what you're walking into before you even get there. Same thing in the daycare space or childcare space. And then the other program that we're heavily supported, which is run by Rosary Calivas, is the Parents as Teachers program.
Rosary. Wow.
Yeah, the Parents as Teachers program. So, how do we create a stronger emphasis of parent engagement in this whole piece? That's critical. It really is.
Wow.
And to try to, I know they have a very strong program at the Jamestown School District with the Parents as Teachers. The Education Coalition wants to be that entity to try to help support in any way possible to scale that up. It's already proven that it's effective for what it's trying to accomplish. But how do we scale that up and make sure that that program is being delivered at the other 18 component school districts throughout Chautauqua County?
Wow. Okay, take a breath. I just heard a dog bark in my ear.
Okay.
That can only mean one thing. Linda Spalding is on the phone.
Oh, right. Linda.
I did. I
Good
heard
morning,
a dog.
Linda.
It was in my
Good morning.
ear.
Well,
You
they
heard
were
it too?
chickens.
Well, good morning to you.
Well, good morning. Good morning, Justin. It's great to see you on the show, and good morning again, Doc. I just want to make a quick announcement that we do have our senior employment services at the Office for the Aging in Mayville, and we're looking for a clerical person in Mayville and a transport aide in Jamestown. Also, we're looking for businesses to consider our terrific employees. This is still Hire the Older Worker Month, so
That's right.
we give recognition.
Linda, for the cleric, does it have to be civil service?
No.
Okay.
None of these positions that now are with our senior employment participant program. These are the training to work positions that they're paid a wage with minimum for 20 hours a week at a not-for-profit or government site. But we work with them to help them get a better job.
Okay.
But I do encourage all of the people that come through our program to apply for civil service tests and jobs.
All right. Did we get the number up there? I was busy looking around, Jeff.
The number is 753-4471.
Okay. And what are the hours that they can call you, Linda? I don't think we ever talk about that.
Well, the office is open 8:30 until 4:30 in Mayville. And if I'm not there, because I do a lot of traveling, I do have voicemail, and they'll put me right through.
Perfect.
They'll put the person right through to my phone number, and then if I'm not there, it will go into voicemail.
Okay, and as we all know, that if folks are interested in your program or anything else coming out of the Office for the Aging, they can check you out on Facebook, right?
Right.
Okay. And I've noticed that has been blowing up lately. It's
Yes,
really growing.
it is. Well, thank you again, Doc.
That's okay. That's okay.
Once again, I'm telling you, you and Joshua at our office should go work for Mark Zuckerberg. Well, thanks again, and have a great week.
And thanks for calling in. Thanks, Linda. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Well, it's funny. Here we're talking about bringing up little kiddos into the workforce, and Linda is talking about the senior worker that perhaps is retired, or maybe they were displaced because of whatever, and they weren't quite ready to call it a day, and they're working on retraining and getting people back to work as well. So
Yeah.
it's a work day.
That's right.
Okay, folks, you're listening to Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels, and my guest today is Justin Hamels, and he is what's your title? Coordinator? No, what are you?
Director.
Director. You were higher yet. Director. He's the boss man.
It's just a title.
At the Chautauqua County Education Coalition, and you're housed at JCC, right?
Yes, we are.
Down in Jamestown. Okay,
Yep.
great.
We have two facilities actually. So we're at both the Dunkirk Center as well as the Jamestown one. Yep.
Okay, terrific. Okay, we're bouncing all over the place here. All right, so we talked about P-TECH, we talked about working with young children. Now, maybe people aren't familiar with the WIB, the Workforce Investment Board, with Katie Geis. Now, how does that tie in?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, Katie attends the majority of our meetings, and she's, a huge asset in the community, and, has a lot of great programs and resources that are available through the Chautauqua Works organization. So we try to figure out, areas where we can collaborate on programs or specific initiatives around events. I know they have a job fair coming up here pretty soon. I don't want to share any of the information on that just because I can't remember exactly the date. But
I know the feeling.
but yeah, when she's at our full group meeting, she shares a lot of that information, and we, work alongside employers to try to figure out how can we better serve their needs through the programs that we're developing.
So, working along with Katie, Chautauqua Opportunities you mentioned, the school systems and that. If you could forecast the next, let's go out 10 years, okay? What are the needs? What's the private sector looking for?
Production level workers, that's huge. On the manufacturing side, that's where I'm strongest on. I know we're going through, we have support through Chautauqua County Health Network to sort of figure out those occupational demands on the healthcare side as well. But, those middle level positions within manufacturing, and I think also in the healthcare side, are incredibly in demand.
Okay, let's define. I always do this. What do we mean by production level employees? To do what?
Industrial maintenance. Okay, so an industrial maintenance or industrial equipment technology individual would be the person in a manufacturing setting. Doesn't just have to be manufacturing, but that would know how to problem solve and fix the machines that are broken down. As manufacturing
like a millwright or
yeah, but with a little bit more advanced skills because with the automation of manufacturing
robotics
today, it's
and
becoming
things like
more robotics. So you got to have that component to it as well.
See, that's what my brother does that for a living. That's what he does.
Yeah,
at a huge level at General Motors.
Yeah. Yep. So that's in big demand. And as you mentioned, with the manufacturing population, many of which who have been working at some of these facilities for 25, 30, 35 years are getting ready to retire in the next 5 to 10 years. There's going to be even more urgency behind trying to backfill some of these positions, and there's just not enough students going into these occupations, and they pay really well.
Okay.
So
let's go back to what you just said. A lot of students are not going into these occupations, and the question is why?
Exactly. There's a disconnect, right? And that's where the coalition's trying to help solve some of those situations and help other organizations like Dream It, Do It, like JCC, like the WIB, and make sure that we have those programs that are educating students on the opportunities and these types of career paths and the skills that they need to get there. Because we don't think, it's just, a lot of it has to do with stigma and the misinterpretation and the lack of education on what it means to have these types of occupations.
Right. My dad worked for General Motors up in Buffalo, the Tonawanda plant, and he came home dirty, sweaty, really hated his job. And it wasn't because of General Motors, it was hard work. It was hot, and that was production. It paid well, it paid for us kids, me and my brother, to grow up, and we had a nice home and blah, 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 blah. All right. That's not the way the world is anymore.
No, not at all.
And my brother, I mentioned, works for General Motors, and he took my dad and I on a tour a couple of years ago of the plant. Everybody's in khakis, polo shirts, they're nice jeans. They're working in an air-conditioned environment. I'm not saying all factories are like that, or all businesses or manufacturing are like that, but quite a few of them are nowadays.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that somehow people, when they hear manufacturing, think of the industrial age where kids are working at these sweatshops and things like that. It's nothing like that anymore.
It's not. No, I mean, if you have an opportunity to tour a lot of the facilities that we have right in our backyard, like Cummins, Trucklight, all these different facilities, I mean, they're fantastic. They're super clean. They have a strong focus on safety. The ergonomics of some of the equipment that people are using make it so it's not as labor intensive anymore. I mean, you don't have to lift heavy pieces of parts or machines, and
if you do, they give you the equipment, like the belts and the harnesses to help you do that. Because I remember I have a brother-in-law that worked at GE, and he would lift these huge coils, and now is all knotted up and things like
Yeah.
that. But that work, like you say, that's going away.
Yep. So it's bringing a level of education to our students, to our future students, around some of those things, and then working with the private sector to develop the programs that will be able to deliver that message to the right people at the right time, and that's how we're really going to move the needle in a big way to increasing more enrollments of students into these programs, and then also making that connection to the local workforce and placing them in jobs here.
Okay, so I guess we got a sort of an idea of production, and whether it's working along on an assembly line or you're making things come together. Let's talk a little bit about the healthcare side. I'm interested because I'm thinking I'm a baby boomer and we're the biggest generation on the face of the earth and we're all getting old and our parts are falling apart. So there's going to be a need for healthcare, I would think, at a highest level ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Ann Abdella shared some good information with the groups that she's working with at our last coalition meeting. CNAs.
CNA is a certified
nursing assistant. So and I envision it as that being, sort of like that, middle level type occupation in the healthcare world as well. And it's becoming more and more digitized too. Healthcare is, and a lot of the services that are being provided on that side. So like the medical knowledge and the ability to incorporate some of all of the data that's tracked on the medical side. Is a big occupation that's sort of on the rise. Medical record keeping, and there's a lot of
portals
new
and things like
that. So, that's sort of a moving target right now. But we're working with the right people to bring together those organizations to truly identify, ways to strengthen that training pipeline and getting more people into those occupations.
So you have the hospitals. I know Anna Abdella is with the Chautauqua County Health Network, CCHN, I think it's called.
Yep.
I know a lot of stuff, don't I?
You do.
It's incredible.
That's why I wanted to talk to you.
We're down to 2.5 minutes, and I don't want to drive the conversation from here on out, other than, and I'm going to try to say it, ethnics? No, here we go. Athenix.
Yeah.
Athenix. I keep saying it wrong. That's looming in the background. Are they at the table, you guys?
Yeah. So, over a year ago, when they were first making their determinations of where they were going to settle, we worked with Athenix to bring together, to convene all of the training providers, SUNY Fredonia, Jamestown Community College, BOCES, a variety of our different K through 12 superintendent administration, and to meet with them and to hear what their needs are, right? I mean, you got a company that's coming in that's saying that they're going to hire 450 people overnight. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that we have training programs that are upskilling individuals from the local community with the skills that they need. So I think that was eye-opening. I think that they really were impressed by the fact that a small community like Chautauqua County had something in place like this that could be able to gear up, bring together all the key critical community leaders in the area quickly and efficiently, and listen to what their needs were. And I think that makes us community ready, I think, going forward to hopefully be able to land more companies like Athenix in the manufacturing sector, but also help to support any of the advancements in the healthcare sector as well.
And what you just said, you just crystallized the coalition for me. With that situation where a company comes in and you can right then and there pull it together and say, what do you need? And start gearing kids and young adults and senior adults, whatever, into the system.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, you still have a minute yet to go. What's the end game?
I don't know if there is an end game. I think, ultimately, I think we're really here to be that sort of backbone support organization, to always be able to be mobile, to meeting the local economic challenges of tomorrow, but really continuing to educate all of our organizations to not only think kind of top down within the programs and services that they're providing, but also think of yourself as a part of a system. Mm-hmm. And what roles do you play, and how can we create stronger relationships across the aisle with other organizations that work in that same space.
Hey, if someone's listening right now, regardless of what sector, and if they want to get a hold of you, can they call you? Or
Yeah, absolutely. Our information's right on our website. So again, take a look at educoalition.com. Or follow us on Facebook. I run the Facebook page as well, so you're more than welcome to message us there. And we're also on LinkedIn. So.
Okay. Justin, we're done.
All right.
We did
Thank
it.
you.
All
We
right.
did it.
Woo, we covered a lot of territory there. Well, I'm impressed with the Chautauqua County Education Coalition. This is near and dear to my heart and something I used to work towards before it was called this. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed the show. We're going to sign off for another week. I'm Doc Hamels. So, Justin Hamp, thanks for joining me here, the director
Thank you,
of the Education Coalition. And we'll see you all again next Saturday. We're going to start a whole month of programming in October. Have a great week and enjoy everything that Chautauqua County has to offer and just suck in and breathe in all the goodness that's going on us right now.